Dorothy and the Wizard of Oz, Part 4. So where we last left off, our crew just fought the gargoyles. I don't remember if I showed you this picture or not. And they eventually lost this fight and were taken up to a platform. Now, they start to see the gargoyles winding down for the night. It doesn't actually get dark. All of these places under the Earth's surface are lit by a mysterious unseen source. But they do start to kind of go into their homes that are all made of wood, and they see them remove their wings and put them on the wall. So they realize that this high platform that they're at is actually a prison for the gargoyles, because the idea is that they'd fly them up there and take their wings off and they'd be trapped. But Eureka the kitten is able to get down. So Zeb creates a setup with the horse's saddle and harness, and then he's able to climb down with Eureka, steal a bunch of the wings, kind of pulley system them back up to the platform, and then they use those wings and strap them to Jim the horse and the buggy and fly away, just as all of the gargoyles are starting to wake back up. And they get to another mountain that has an archway like the one that they came out of before, and they're hoping that that will take them back up to the Earth's surface. The gargoyles are chasing them, so the wizard takes all the wings off the buggy and the horse and sets them on fire so that they can't follow them. But now they're kind of trapped inside this cave, and they see lots of little yellow lights everywhere that turn out to be dragons. Although these are baby dragons, so they're actually called dragonettes. They say that they're about 66 or so years old, which is pretty young for a dragon. They talk about their bloodline going back like 20,000 years, which makes me think that this might be where the Clock of the Time Dragon is from, if it's this sort of maybe not quite immortal, but live so long that to us humans they seem immortal kind of creature. But the mother dragon is out right now getting food and has tied all of their tails to the back of a rock so that they can fight and escape, which means that they are out of reach and won't get eaten. So they carefully work their way through this cave, and they end up choosing one of two paths. So they keep going down this path. It's pretty narrow. They feel pretty confident that the mother dragon couldn't make it through there. They're hoping this means that there's still an entrance to the outside, but they are happy that they won't run into her. It does seem really weird to introduce dragons and just kind of leave them like that without anything happening, so I hope they come back. Farther down the passage, they're very excited because they eventually see some light peeking through, but when they get to the end, they realize that the opening is way out of reach and totally blocked off. They don't really feel like they can go back the way they came, and they are just afraid that they're going to be trapped there forever. But then Dorothy has an idea. Dorothy says, "Never fear, because I have an arrangement with Ozma, the current ruler of Oz, that every day at 4 o'clock she will look at me in her magic painting, and if I make a certain signal, she will summon me to Oz using the magic belt that I got from the Gnome King." Here's the thing though, this is a plot hole because that is not the agreement they made at the end of Ozma of Oz, which as far as we know is the last time she saw Ozma. I even went back and checked in the third book. They made an agreement that Ozma would check on her every Saturday morning in the magic picture. So I feel like somebody didn't reread his book. But Ozma is able to use the magic belt after she sees Dorothy doing the signal, which I guess looks like this, and she summons her to the Emerald City as well as Eureka the cat that she's holding, and then Dorothy quickly summons everyone else to the Emerald City using the magic belt. Now, why she didn't just wish them all back home, I don't know. There's another bit of a plot hole here. When they all get to the Emerald City, Zeb and the horse look around and are like, oh, everything is green, there's a green light that bathes everything, buildings are green, you know, people are wearing green outfits, all of that. But the thing is, they are not wearing the green glasses, so it shouldn't look green. Like, the whole point of the first book is that the wizard was just fooling everyone. But whatever. The wizard is excited to be back. They are apprehensive of him at first because they're afraid he might want to take Oz back over, but he says he's not interested in that, and they're like, great. They let him have his old room back for the time being, and they invite everyone to a big dinner, and they are reunited with some old friends. Everyone in Oz is also very perplexed by the idea of Jim the cart horse because apparently they don't have any horses in Oz. Now, I remembered while reading the first book that they notably did not have the green horse in the Emerald City like they have in the movie, but I was thinking that there were other horses. While I couldn't find anything in The Wizard of Oz, the first book, that proves that there are horses in Oz, there are a couple mentions of it that imply that they at least know what they are. when everyone is a prisoner of the Wicked Witch of the West, the witch thought she would go into the courtyard and harness the cowardly lion like a horse. Again, while it's not something that she says, it's sort of implied that that's her thought and that she knows what horses are. And also, of course, in the Marvelous Land of Oz, there's a whole character called the Sawhorse that's made out of a sawhorse. Now, I am sure it was named that so that people, you know, in the real world reading it would know what he was supposed to look like, but why would it be called a sawhorse in Oz if it wasn't referencing an actual animal that they had? Anyway, whatever. Ozma talks a little bit about her history and also asks the Wizard of Oz some questions about his heritage, because traditionally the rulers of Oz are named Oz. Now, it just so happens that this is his real name: Oscar Zoroaster Phaedrig Isaac Norman Henkel Emmanuel Ambroise Diggs, which initials out to Oz Pinhead. So he decided at one point to just go by Oz, and he had that on the hot air balloon and everything, which was why everyone was so impressed when he got there. The thing is, though, in the Marvelous Land of Oz, when Ozma kind of takes over at the end, they talk about how the wizard overthrew Pastoria to take the throne of Oz. But in this book, when Ozma's talking about the history of Oz, it says that her grandfather was a prisoner of Mombi, the Wicked Witch of the North, who had her powers stripped at the end of the Marvelous Land of Oz, and that ever since then, it had been ruled by 4 main witches: the wicked ones in the East and West, and the good ones in the North and South. So, is that another plot hole? Anyway, that is neither here nor there, but they are also reunited with Bellina and the Wogglebug, who are both doing very well, and they talk and have a blast at their feast until it's time to go to bed, and that's where we're going to leave off for today.